so much for joining us for Community Focus, because it's our honor to bring you today one of America's most celebrated artists, Ted Ellis, a resident of Houston, formerly of New Orleans, and he's been featured in such publications as Newsweek, Southern Living Magazine. An exhibition of Ted's work is opening this month in the Rosa Parks Museum of Troy University and will continue through February. Ted, thank you for joining us in person. What a pleasure.
Wow, thank you. That was a wonderful introduction.
Ted, how is it that you turned from engineer to artist, or was it vice versa?
Actually, I was always an artist. The parental influence was to go to school, get my degree, become this wonderful celebrated attorney, doctor, or professor. I sort of did that. I worked as an environmental engineer for 8 years, and then I turned to doing my passion full-time afterwards.
You are no stranger to our NPR listeners.
That's correct.
What happened at the inauguration?
Well, I wound up doing this piece, Obama the 44th President, and a very large piece, a very colorful piece, and it sort of just found a way of its own in the Houston community. I wound up getting interviewed and showcased on TV, and NPR radio found out about it, and they gave me a wonderful interview, and the listeners called in and said, you know, what time are you going to be showcasing in D.C.? We happened to do the unveiling at the French Embassy the day right before the inauguration.
Could you believe all of that happening to you?
Oh, you
at
know,
one of America's most pivotal moments in history.
You think about it in the Chronicles of Time, and you say, you know, wow, you know, look what happens when you take your passion and you marry it to purpose, and you see the results of it. And I was just telling a gentleman earlier here that you know it's fulfilling. It has not been fulfilled yet, but you find out that when you're passionate about something, you work with your passion for purpose, for greater good, things happen. You don't need to have the best made business plan or marketing plan. So for that time, seeing the first African-American president of the United States and being part of that historical moment, it's priceless.
There's been an explosion of interest in your art. Do you think it had to do with the inauguration or the effect that Katrina had on you?
I think it's a culmination of all of it, but if I had to start from the very beginning, I got to think about my mom and my dad. My mom was always a person of service, of helping others with little means. My dad was a musician, and he totally embraced his passion up until his death. And they always was there to lead me and guide me in doing stuff other than just for myself. And so, I've been very purposeful along my artistic career to find a way to help humanity, whether it's a fundraising event, whether it's, teaching somebody how to draw, and also speaking through my art. There's something very powerful about art. It is a universal language. It says nothing, but it says everything. It speaks to you politically, it speaks to you socially, it speaks to you culturally, educationally, and if you're looking for the economics of it, it does that as well. So whatever it is that you want to derive from art, it's there. It's for me, it's a utensil. It's a vehicle to improve humanity. And I advocate from my pulpit of art. So I'm very deliberate in what I do. I'm very passionate about my culture as an African American and my history, but that's part of American history and culture as well. Years ago in the late '90s, I saw a lot on TV about the Bloods and the Crips. And I said, wow, I'm just so sick and tired of seeing that kind of imagery projected of African American males. I said, I grew up poor. I don't use that as an excuse. I have a quality education. I dare to dream to become a young captain of enterprise at some point. And so, here I am, middle America, middle management, and making a difference. Married, functional, taking care of my family. Tell that story. That's what these young African-American males need to see. And so, I was sending in my letters and to the media, but I didn't see that being reflected. So I said, what is it that I love doing? I've always loved to paint. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to focus on painting positive images of African Americans across the board. This vital historical resource of our contributions, our undying spirit under duress to find a way to make it a better way, not only for themselves, but for the rest of the world, the rest of humanity. And, you know, that's my daily walk. So my art is my magic carpet. There's tremendous amount of purpose behind the palette and the canvas. I have something to say, and I want to be able to share that with the world. You know, the world is watching us. You know, they still look at us, at America as leaders on doing the right thing. And so, you know, I look at our times now. You know, I think about the good side of capitalism, the bad side of capitalism, the good side of humanity, the bad side of humanity. And I say, you know, what side I want to step on, you know, to fill in the gap. And so, you know, art is a gift from God. That's an instrument of healing. And so, you know, I want to stay mindful of that. I want to stay grounded in that. And, you know, coming here to showcase at the Rosa Parks Museum is a phenomenal opportunity for myself and others. So, you know, I want to stay prayerful. I want to be grounded. I want to have the right kind of humility that I'm able to advocate the right kind of way and do the right kind of things, because there are going to be other young Ted Ellises coming behind, you know, from every persuasion and every walk of life. So it's critically important that we all participate and do this the right kind of way.
Does it strike you that you are inspiring young Ted Ellis's children who will be seeing your art may want to follow in your footsteps? And let's talk just a moment about your style, which has been described as a marriage between realism and impressionism. It's very colorful, which of course would appeal to young people.
Yes, without a doubt. You know, I look at myself right now in the present, and I can look back some years later and I say, wow, you know, I'm 47 years of age. You know, I remember when the first time when one of the students said, you know, Mr. Ellis, I said, wow, am I that old? So, you know, very impressionable. You know, with kids, you know, that's our _1 investment. You know, not our homes, not our cars, you know, not our portfolio, but our children. I was real lucky the beginning part of the year to get some stimulus money to do my art outreach program. And I partnered with the Houston Independent School System and decided to work with disadvantaged kids, but that's what folks had called them, disadvantaged kids. But I said, okay, let's make it happen. So we took on 3 projects. Let's help those students and families in Haiti through art. You know, I said, what does it mean to have the first African-American president in the United States? And what is it that the president can do for you right now? And the last project, and they had to communicate this through art. I said, you know, science, technology, innovation. What's the precursor to that? Innovation. I said, let's help save NASA through art. And so, you know, with that, you know, these kids responded and made an impact. And for me, it was refreshing to see that they found a way to participate, not only for themselves, but for others. And so, you know, being a role model and leveraging my passion in art, you know, it's no better gift to be fulfilled that kind of way.
Let me ask you about your community service involvement. Has it always been there since you picked up the paintbrush, or did it just grow? Because that's one of the hallmarks of your work, giving back to communities.
It always has. I mean, since I've started, I've always partnered with organizations in the fundraising capacity. It continues to be that kind of way. It's part of our responsibility that we have to, and so you know, I have no problems with that. I enjoy it, and you know, it gets my art out in front of everybody. So yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity.
Has your style evolved over the years?
Yeah, you know, I'm a big fan of the Impressionists, you know, Monet, Van Gogh, that whole movement. But you know, I don't have the formal training that Monet and Van Gogh. I mean, they were very much the students of art and anatomy, and so that's where I fall short at. So you know, I kind of like just soulfully paint. You know, it's sort of primitive in a sense, but it has a little air of sophistication, and it becomes kind of like my own style, my own interpretation, and it works. And kids gravitate, like you said earlier. You know, kids seem to like what I do because they say, well, you know, I can do that, and I say, yes, you can.
It's not far out.
Right. It's not. Yeah. Art. Yeah. It's not so much as so technically refined that they feel unencumbered, that they can't do it. Yeah.
Let's talk about some specifics, because the exhibition will be able to be viewed at the Troy University Rosa Parks Museum, January 13th through February 24th. And you're also doing a couple of workshops.
That's correct. we're going to be totally integrated in the community. We're gonna make art speak. We're gonna show that it works not only in a museum but even outside the museum. So we're gonna actually be painting on location. I will be. We're gonna actually have the students to come in and engage and participate and paint. And what I'm gonna pose, it'll probably be several questions. It may change. What does it mean? About the civil rights movement. And I need for you to communicate that in art. And so each one of these students, young adults, will have a chance to create wonderful artwork, and it will be our responsibility during the time of the total exhibit to have their artwork to showcase the same time with mine, so that we can celebritize the next generation of other wonderful young artists.
We're talking about January 13th and 14th, and one of those days you'll be painting Rosa Parks' home.
That's correct. That's right. So, they'll see how Ted paints. His painting technique, his passion, right there under a whole bunch of duress with cameras and kids in the community. And I just think it'll be fun. It'll give people time to engage and to see me personally.
What sort of art materials do you use?
Definitely the canvases, brush. I want to say I'm a environmentally friendly artist, so I use water-soluble materials. Acrylic paints I'm a big fan of it, and that'll be it. It'll be my easel, my chair, and my material.
Your subject matter is such a huge range. I mean, everything from the Buffalo Soldiers, and why did you get involved in the Buffalo Soldiers story, to the Tuskegee Airmen, to the Rosa Parks story, to civil rights, to NASA.
Okay, there's not enough time in a day for me to be able to tell that story of the commitment and the history, the accomplishments, the triumphs and the failures that we encounter. But we pick ourselves up and we make it happen. There's always been in the African American community the issue of isolationism and separation and stuff. But we break through those barriers. You talk about the Tuskegee Airmen, you talk about the Buffalo Soldier, you talk about the Negro professional baseball players, excluded but now included. And so, for the rest of the world, it's not about exclusion, it's about inclusion. And here's an example, and just to chronicle that, to tell that story. What will they say 50, 100, millennia from now through my art? And so that's what I want to leave that legacy there, that pictorial documentation, that it's important, and particularly for folks to understand the accomplishment and the undying spirit of African Americans under duress during slavery, during civil rights, still found a way to contribute in a wonderful way, and if we can catch that and it's like I forgive, may not forget but forgive, that we all human. We don't live in a vacuum. We live amongst ourselves, and for the greater good of humanity, it's about peace and about love and about caring, and I got to project that in my artwork. So when I did my series on American slavery, the reason why we're here, from Goree Island to the West Indies, to the skill set of the slaves, till the global exploitation of slavery, to the emancipation of slavery, to the age of Obama. The exhibition speaks of hope and promise that tomorrow will be a better day. I mean, my short time on this earth, that's how I want to live my life, to be that kind of example, that to think and do good, that's where we need to be at, and brush aside, all the other negative stuff. We have the ability, the manifestation within ourselves to do good for others and not just ourselves, and not to be selfish. And so, that's why I love America so much. We've been that kind of example. But there's some caution. I see us doing things differently. And I want to remind us that we always operated from the premise of doing goodwill for here, with all the inequities and the inefficiencies in this country. We work to be better, to do better. And that's all we have to be mindful each day when we wake up. And so, art is not a job for me. It's my livelihood. It's what I live for. It's what I'm passionate about. And so, I just want to do good while I'm here with my art.
Ted, you have a traveling exhibition that's very popular. Are you getting that feedback from the viewers of that exhibition that your message is being confirmed through their response?
Oh yes, you know, recently the New Orleans African American Museum, we've had the exhibit up, Something to See, Native Son Comes Home, the Art of Ted Ellis. And it's a compilation of a pictorial documentation from slavery to the age of Obama. So you see my medical pieces in there, you see some of my religious pieces in there, some of my rural pieces, you see my free people of color in there. And you know, it's a port city, so and New Orleans is a popular city. So you have folks that are coming in from Paris, France, from Switzerland, and some of them come in there speaking different languages, and then they put it into English so that I can understand when I've been there to visit. And you know, I've seen men cry, you know, at the exhibition, and for the kids that come in and say, "Oh, Mom, you know, that's you, you know, that's Dad, that's the attorney piece right there." And, you know, it resonates. You know, it speaks to you at your level of understanding, and that's what's so powerful. And so for me, to see people have the right kind of positive response from my artwork lets me know that I'm doing something right.
What an uplifting message.
No, thank you.
Can you give us your website?
Yes, it's tellisfineart.com.
One more time.
tellisfineart.com.
And if you'd like to find out more about the exhibition of Ted Ellis at the Troy University Rosa Parks Museum, simply consult the website, that is www.troy.edu, or simply call 241-8615. Ted, what a pleasure and an honor to talk with you today. Thank you for joining us.
Carolyn, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
We've been speaking with one of America's most celebrated artists, Ted Ellis of Texas.
Wow.
Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you.